no, if I could make abortion illegal tomorrow, I wouldn't. As much as I want to, we are not ready.
If I could just chime in real quick, and I don't want to kind of overtake the discussion here, but I just want to chime in on this point. So you acknowledge that determining when a quote-unquote human life exists or when a person exists. I'm not talking about the law or biology or anything like that. But people have a different idea. It's very subjective, and you admit this. And you also just stated that you wouldn't make it illegal tomorrow if you could, because you understand maybe the consequences of that. Maybe women going for back alley abortions being very unsafe. Maybe putting women and doctors in prison isn't the answer. So I guess I'm just kind of confused as why you choose to call yourself pro-life, because it seems to me that you're actually advocating for pro-choice positions. I mean, but then you call yourself pro-life. So I don't know. Can you kind of explain maybe the nuance or maybe why you apply that label to yourself? Because it seems to me that you're actually advocating a pro-choice stance.
No, I know my stance is not popular when it comes to that. Pro-choice or pro-lifers that I know would make abortion in every way illegal. And like I said, I want to, but I have to be realistic. I like being a realist, and I think we would have a complete revolt if we just made all abortion illegal. Now, I advocate for laws against abortion. I absolutely advocate for ultrasound laws where women have to see the ultrasound before an abortion. And I know people hate that because they think it's going to be an emotional problem for the woman, but you go through any other procedure, any other invasive something with a doctor that they can cut inside you, they can see what they're doing, and they by law have to tell the person, man or woman or child, what they're going to be doing. And I think that it's ridiculous not to have a woman know everything that's going on. There is a life, there's something living inside her. She should probably know exactly what's going to be happening. So I do support restricting abortion by laws to certain extents and slowly working from there. Right now, there's so many laws going on that are restricting abortion to like 24 weeks and 20 weeks, and there are some that are trying to go as young as 12 weeks, which I do support. I think when it gets down to the 8-week mark, that's where we're going to start having issues. And if we can get to the 8-week mark of abortion being legal, or 8 to 12, we'll just go that route, then I would say, okay, it's time to make abortion completely illegal. But until then, I think we need to better society. And I know it's not a popular stance, and I really hope I'm explaining myself right. It's just until we can help people be as responsible as possible, making abortion completely illegal tomorrow is just going to screw so much up, and it's going to make people mad, and people do very, very dangerous things when they're mad, and mob mentality is scary, and we live in a society where that would easily happen. We've seen Black Friday, what happens every year on Black Friday. Can you imagine making abortion illegal completely tomorrow? What would happen would be catastrophic.
So you say that, let me see here. Okay, so you say you want to reduce, the opportunity to have an abortion down to like 16 weeks and 12 weeks, and then you say I think down to 8 weeks, but you don't want to go any further than that. I just want to know how you find it morally justified to tell women that they can't have an abortion past 8 or 12 weeks if they find out some information about the fetus, like, it has some horrific genetic anomaly, which won't lead to a spontaneous or natural abortion, but it will allow the fetus to be fully born, but then have a really reduced quality of life, maybe a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, really expensive medical bills. And I know that's not the best justification for having an abortion, but, it's a reality. If parents can't afford that, then it's something they have to consider. So I want to kind of justify your moral stance on like kind of forcing that onto people. And then also kind of a hypothetical situation that I often present to people when they claim that, a zygote or a fetus has the same worth as a fully born human is like, say you were in like an IVF clinic and you had a small child with you and a fire broke out. Now you had the opportunity to either carry this child out with you and save them from the fire, or there's a cryo chamber next to you filled with hundreds of viable embryos that you could wheel out with you. Now, which one are you going to decide to do? Now, if you claim that they are both of equal value, you should take out the cryo chamber, but I don't think that's what you're going to do. So if you could just address that.
I'm sorry for laughing. I literally, I cannot keep it together when I hear that copy and paste debate all the time, all over social media and all over the internet. I have been hearing that for the last year, and it is very, okay. I'll just get to that one first. Yes, I view them equally. I am also a realist when it comes to survival and what has a better chance of living. And I am, like, you can even go to the simple one. If someone's holding an embryo or something in a petri dish and you're holding a live baby, who are you going to save? And if they're equal, you have to, you'll never be able to choose, which is crap. I would choose the newborn. I will choose the one that has the more likelihood to survive. It's no different than my viewpoint on an ectopic pregnancy. I hate the thought that someone would have to terminate possibly a wanted embryo, but the mom is going to survive. And if the pregnancy continues, chances are they're both going to die. Personally, I don't think that makes me less pro-life. It makes me a humanist. It makes me realize that I'm going to save the one that can feel pain right now. I'm going to save the one that has a better chance of living. But I actually think there might have been miscommunication. I do support making abortion illegal completely. I just think there are steps, and I think by the time we get to 8 weeks, that's when I would start pushing for more. But I want to get to at least 8 to 12 weeks. I don't want to stop at 8 weeks. I just want to at least get there.
Okay, then on top of that, like, basically, how do you justify the moral position of forcing women to give birth to fetuses, babies that will have, horrible problems when they're eventually born because you are not going to allow them to have an abortion?
I think that's a very valid question, and I was waiting for that one to come up tonight because that is next to the rape and incest. That's one of the most emotional. Excuse me. I have countless friends that were told that they were going to be born, or their children were going to be born with some terrible defect. They were going to die. Dozens and dozens of these stories that none of them are true, and that doesn't mean that some aren't. But if we're willing to terminate a life because of what we're pretty sure is going to happen, I don't see that as a valid reason. I know what it comes down to is the difference in morality. People view a living as different than a fetus, or a born is different than a fetus and something in the womb. But as I said, nothing is certain until birth. And I actually believe that, let's say we get abortion illegal at 20 weeks, and something happens and they don't want to terminate, but they're unsure. I would support inducing labor because abortion is safer in the first trimester than childbirth. People don't want to look at that, but the statistics are incredibly clear, and that's just the way it is. But after that, it's not. And I think when we get into the second, third trimester, we should go for, let's say there is some 99.9% chance that this child is going to die, and that's that. Well, an abortion is going to kill it no matter what. I would rather, let's say, induce abortion or have an emergency C-section and at least give the child a chance. And again, it really comes down to where you view morality, but I've seen way too many cases of things being wrong. My own son, who's a 1.5 years old, they were sure he was going to be born with Down syndrome. Now, I think aborting because of Down syndrome is terrible. It's as bad as sex-selective abortions. Killing because of something so simple is ridiculous, but I had people asking me if I was going to abort because of that. And he doesn't. He's normal, what we would consider. So I hope that kind of answers your question, but I think that terminating on an if or a high chance but not a full percentage is silly.